Before Washington politicians started banging their drums about Russia, evidence suggested real, provable collusion actually occurred at the DNC, where Hillary Clinton supporters acted to deny Bernie Sanders the nomination. And as they manipulated the process in June 2016, President Bill Clinton had a 30-minute meeting with then U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch on a tarmac at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. It came just days before the FBI's interview with Hillary Clinton regarding her email scandal. Well, the American Center for Law and Justice has just obtained some relevant documents in an attempt to uncover the truth about possible collusion between the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Clinton campaign to clear Mrs. Clinton of any wrongdoing. Now, the ACLJ's Jordan Sekulow joins us now. Jordan, thanks for being with us. Before we discuss these documents, please tell us, why should we be so concerned about the former president's meeting with Loretta Lynch?
We did not have an attorney general who recused herself even after this meeting from the investigation. Loretta Lynch was still in control of the Department of Justice and thus in control of the FBI and could make the ultimate call on anything in any matter involving Hillary Clinton. We also were told that this was kind of a last-minute decision that former President Bill Clinton decided to stay on the tarmac an extra few minutes and wait, and then boarded the Attorney General's plane. But we have in what we've obtained, in the 413 pages we obtained from the Department of Justice, we actually have an interesting email, and it goes to someone who is now actually, was a DOJ spokesperson, is now the spokesperson for, Gary, as you mentioned, Russia, the special counsel, this individual named Peter Carr. And he's asked by a Washington Post reporter if, and we don't get the response, that's redacted, if the security details of President Clinton and at the time Attorney General Lynch had basically worked together, because her security detail would be the FBI. Why is that important? Well, back in the summer, the FBI received our FOIA request, so more than a year ago, and so did Department of Justice. Department of Justice, Gary, never responded. We had to take them to court. That's how we got the 413 pages initially, just a couple of weeks ago.
And
the FBI, Gary, told us they got nothing.
Well, they lied about that then.
Right.
Was that a lie?
They lied. They lied. So just a few days ago, Gary, I mean, I hold it up in my hand. This is very unusual. First, they sent us a letter in October saying, we've got nothing in relation to this meeting. Then the FOIA came out from the Department of Justice. They have separate offices. And then a week after that, we made some phone calls to the FBI and said, hey, you know, there's FBI agents and FBI officials on these emails, and there's FBI redactions in these documents. So what's going to change here? They didn't respond, and then we got the letter in the mail. Hey, we've reopened your Freedom of Information Act request.
And the timing of this, the former president of the United States, met with the sitting U.S. Attorney General on a tarmac in Phoenix just days before his wife was to give testimony before the FBI on an investigation. What's up with that?
Right. And just about 10 days before the investigation for the first time was closed. And this becomes very relevant, Gary, because Jim Comey has reintroduced this in his testimony under oath, which led to, after his firing and his leaking of memos, this special counsel investigation. Jim Comey has pointed to this as one of the reasons why, the main reason why, he took the bizarre step of announcing that the FBI was closing investigation, when that's not the job of the FBI. It's actually, they investigate, then they give the info to the DOJ, and DOJ decides whether or not to bring charges or to prosecute.
The Attorney
General. And why did he make that bizarre decision? Right. He said he did this because this meeting was so upsetting to him. Yet, FBI officials were working with Department of Justice officials on the day of the meeting, on the days following the meeting, and the press to play down the story.
It sure seems like the FBI was being very partisan, and I want to talk about something else here. The DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now, this week we saw an indictment of Pakistani IT whiz Imran Awan and his wife Hinna, who allegedly committed bank fraud. They tried to flee to Pakistan. Before that, Awan was kept on as a congressional staffer by Wasserman Schultz after hacking into government computers. Now, she's defended her actions. What's going on here? Might there be a DNC connection, and where do you think all of this will lead, Jordan?
Well, he had access to her information at the DNC because he had access to her actual devices, like her iPad, which would be able to then get into the DNC. So he could have, again, I think that these 4 charges that we're seeing, And it's significant that his wife was allowed to leave the country with more U.S. dollars than you're allowed to leave with. It's a limit of 10,000. She had 12,000. She was stopped at the airport. They let her leave with the kids. When he tried to do it, they arrested him. Then he got fired finally by Wasserman Schultz. Now the charges. Now we've got the indictments. I really believe, Gary, that these indictments are actually just the beginning.
We'll see where all this leads as you take legal action, more legal action, to uncover the truth. We appreciate you and the ACLJ. Thanks for joining us today.